Southern India has witnessed a significant demographic shift as its total fertility rate, which is called TFR, falls below the replacement level. So, researchers are very concerned, and they are warning about falling fertility rates across several South Indian states, a trend that may lead to significant demographic, economic and political consequences. According to the recent data, Tamil Nadu has the lowest fertility rate at 1.4, followed by Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Kerala, which is at 1.5, and Karnataka at 1.6, all below the national average of 2.1. Experts say that this decline is irreversible and shall have far-reaching impact on everything from economic growth to parliamentary representation. According to reports from the International Institute for Population Sciences in Mumbai, states like Andhra Pradesh could lose as many as 5 seats in the Lok Sabha after the next census. The implications are, however, very serious. Reduced workforce, increased old age dependency and diminished political influence in parliament, particularly after 2026, when delimitation may reduce the state's representation due to population-based seat allocation. Now, recently, if you may recall, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, as also Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, drew attention to falling fertility rates in their states and urged families to have more children.
చేసే పని మీకోసరమే కాదు, దేశం కోసం కూడా, సమాజ హితం కూడా. ఏ పనైనా చేసి డబ్బులు సంపాదిస్తాం కానీ పిల్లలు కూడా ఉంటేనే, లేకుంటే జనాభా ఉంటేనే వాళ్ళ కోసం మనం పనిచేసే పరిస్థితి వస్తుంది. దీన్ని కూడా నేను ఒక ఉద్యమంగా తీసుకుంటున్నా. ఒకప్పుడు నేనే ప్రారంభించాను జనాభా నియంత్రణ. ఆ రోజు నేను అందరికీ చెప్పాను, మీరంతా ఎక్కువ పిల్లలు కనద్దండి, కంటే చాలా సమస్యలు వస్తాయి. నీళ్లు పెరగడం లేదు, గాలి పెరగడం లేదు, భూమి పెరగలేదు అని ఆ రోజు చెప్పాను. నా మాట విని మీరందరూ ఆ పని ప్రారంభించి 10 ఏళ్లలోనే జనాభాను తగ్గించేశారు. ఇప్పుడు నా భయం అంతా ఏంటంటే జనాభా పూర్తిగా తగ్గిపోయే పరిస్థితికి వస్తా ఉంది. ఒకప్పుడు 2 పిల్లల కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉంటే పంచాయతీల్లో పోటీ చేయడానికి వీలు లేదు.
முன்பெல்லாம் செல்வங்கள் என்று சொல்லுகிற போது 16 பெற்று பெருவாழ்வு என்று சொல்லுவார்கள். 16னா 16 குழந்தைகள் அல்ல, 16 செல்வங்கள். ஆனா இன்னைக்கு நாடாளுமன்ற தொகுதியெல்லாம் குறையும் என்ற நிலை வருகிற போது ஏன் அளவோடு பெற்று வளமோடு வாழ வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லுவோம். நாமும் 16 குழந்தைகளை பெற்றுக் கொள்ளலாமே என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய நிலை இன்றைக்கு உணர்வு வந்திருக்கிறது. அதையும் நாம் மறந்துவிடக்கூடாது.
You know, this falling fertility rates, which was actually hailed at one time, we all remember, hum do hamare do, and it was in the 60s and the 70s. Today, the South Indian states have to actually pay a price for this. You see that. What is the total fertility rate? That is, if you are below 2.1, then it's a cause for concern, and this is irreversible, like we are showing it on the screen. And all the South Indian states, whether it is Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala, they are all below the TFR. That fertility rate in Tamil Nadu has dropped, so has Andhra Pradesh, Kerala at 1.5 and Karnataka at 1.6, and this is irreversible. So, it will have a political impact, of course, because your seats will reduce after the delimitation in 2026, but more than that, the workforce. If you have an aging population, then what happens to jobs where you need young, strong, energetic people to work? Not being an ageist, but that is being very practical, that you do need young people as a workforce. So, these states, it will be a double whammy. One is the diminishing political kind of a representation in parliament, and also there is also about young workforce, which is also diminished. Andhra could lose as many as 5 seats in the Lok Sabha. Can you imagine? And that's why Chandrababu Naidu was speaking about having more children. It is not just, it is also increased old age dependency and diminished political influence, of course. And this is what makes also M.K. Stalin speak about how, in the good old days when we used to bless a young couple, we would say have 16 children. And there came a time when we would all laugh and say, what does he mean? But then for all this, you also need an egalitarian society where the woman does not feel that childbearing and raising children is all on her alone. Let me just play you both the bites yet again of Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh as well as Muka Stalin, and then we get back to this debate with an expert on the topic.
చేసే పని మీకోసరమే కాదు దేశం కోసరం కూడా సమాజ హితం కూడా ఏ పనైనా చేసి డబ్బులు సంపాదిస్తాం కానీ పిల్లలు కూడా ఉంటేనే లేకుంటే జనాభా ఉంటేనే వాళ్ళ కోసం మనం పనిచేసే పరిస్థితి వస్తుంది. దీన్ని కూడా నేను ఒక ఉద్యమంగా తీసుకుంటున్నా. ఒకప్పుడు నేనే ప్రారంభించాను జనాభా నియంత్రణ. ఆ రోజు నేను అందరికీ చెప్పాను, మీరంతా ఎక్కువ పిల్లలు కనద్దండి, కంటే చాలా సమస్యలు వస్తాయి, నీళ్లు పెరగడం లేదు, గాలి పెరగడం లేదు, భూమి పెరగలేదు అని ఆ రోజు చెప్పాను. నా మాట విని మీరందరూ ఆ పని ప్రారంభించి 10 ఏళ్లలోనే జనాభాను తగ్గించేశారు. ఇప్పుడు నా భయం అంతా ఏంటంటే జనాభా పూర్తిగా తగ్గిపోయే పరిస్థితికి వస్తా ఉంది. ఒకప్పుడు 2 పిల్లల కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉంటే பஞ்சாயத்தில் கண்டஸ்ட் போட்டி செய்யడానికి வீல் లేదు.
முன்பெல்லாம் செல்வங்கள் என்று சொல்லுகிற போது 16 பெற்று பெருவாழ் வாழ் என்று சொல்லுவார்கள். 16னா 16 குழந்தைகள் அல்ல, 16 செல்வங்கள். ஆனா இன்னைக்கு நாடாளுமன்ற தொகுதியெல்லாம் குறையும் என்ற நிலை வருகிற போது ஏன் அளவோடு பெற்று வளமோடு வாழ வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லும், நாமும் 16 குழந்தைகளை பெற்றுக் கொள்ளலாமே என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய நிலை இன்றைக்கு உணர்வு வந்திருக்கிறது. அதையும் நாம் மறந்துவிடக்கூடாது.
And we are now joined by Dr. Srinivas Goli, Associate Professor, International Institute of Population Sciences in Mumbai. Professor Goli, such a pleasure to have you and on the show. Professor Goli, this is not just about, diminishing seats. Of course, that's a major concern, because if states do not have proper representation, then obviously they lose out on a lot of decision making, and also, to lack of any other phrase, the buying power. But tell me something, overall on societies in the south of India, what kind of an impact does it have, Professor Goli?
Yeah, I've been writing since last 3 days. I've been saying to different newspapers the same thing, that the declining fertility rates are going to impact their population structure, and where you will have rise in aging population, declining in working age population. And when you have a higher aging population, it is going to have an impact on, first, your economic, because there are more consumers than the producers, and it will have a direct impact on your economy. Second, your support ratios will get affected. Support ratios means the number of people available for serving the dependent population. Who are dependent population here? The older population. So we generally, in our analysis, we says that any state which have more than 15% of older population or old age dependence ratio, which will be facing the aging crisis. And all the South Indian states now currently are entered into this zone according to our projected population estimates.
Professor Srinivas, what is very worrisome is that it's irreversible. I mean,
fertility is not reversible.
Yeah, so that you have to explain. It's almost like, a family planning, operation. In some cases it's reversible, in some it's not. You can't do anything about it. So why do you think it's irreversible, sir? Can't we say take some action? I mean, Chief Minister's coming and saying, bless you, have more children is all very well. But why is it that it can't be changed, Professor Srinivas?
Yeah, it is not reversible. It's not the first time it is happening in the world. It has happened across the world, and people have announced more incentives, more strict laws than what we are looking forward to today. So, for example, simple example I'll tell, South Korea is ready to give 60,000 rupees for women if she come forward and have a child. But no, South Korea is the lowest fertility in the world, 0.8, less than a child in the population. So, and China is, autocratic country. Even there, who adopted a one-child policy, now they're forcing for the women for 3 children, but it's not happening. an old European country which is announced much bigger financial incentives than what we are would like to announce today, or why it is not reversible is because cost of childbearing is increasing. One
Yes.
side encouraging women to go for jobs, where women to go for higher education,
Right.
and they're entering into labor market.
Yeah.
They're spending more time in
Right.
the education sector. So the higher aged marriages. Now, do you want them to drop out from all the education sector and employment sector and want to
No,
be there? No, that is not
Doctor,
possible.
Professor Srinivas, what if it was more equal, egalitarian? You know,
Yeah,
where
you need to build. Yeah.
I give birth to a child, but my husband also bears half, of child rearing. That does not happen because the burden is only mostly on women to do that. And I'm not
Yeah.
just talking about privileged people like I, who's educated and get good jobs. But even the woman who's working in a farmland, sir, she's the one who's cradling the child and also working in fields.
Yeah, we see this. That's what we are saying. This is like that's where women are, because the women's aspirations are not with just livelihood or income. They are also looking for a self-esteem, self-actualization, I call it. So now unless this gender egalitarianism or equal sharing of work, both household and outside, does not come, it is not possible. But whether in a patriarchal society like that, can we build that very quickly? When can we change the gender norms, that men also started sharing the household chores, cooking, cleaning? 70% of cooking, cleaning, and all the work is still done by women. The men involvement in maternal health care, men involvement in child care is very less. And our labor market laws,
Yeah.
is very biased
Professor,
towards.
yeah,
Yeah.
Professor Srinivas, so this is a danger kind of alarm which is ringing for South Indian states. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely solution is the only simple solution that lies is that fertility cannot be reversed. If just you want to maintain the current fertility rates, you must bring the gender egalitarianism or gender. And one more thing, one we have to see,
Pro-
we are see one we are at, for example, Andhra Pradesh today is 1.5, but what is the per capita income of Andhra Pradesh? Only $2,600.